I'd never even heard of HIV, but the minute I was told I was positive, to me, I was just straight up scared. I'm like, I'm gonna die. But for me, because I was a mess at the time, that just made me go, well, I'm just gonna go out with a bang. But then that doesn't happen. Hi, my name's Kristal. I've had HIV since 2010, and this is my story. I was born in Maitland, New South Wales in 1987. It was a small country town. I was only with my mother when I was born, as my biological father wasn't around. So my mother met my stepfather, and his family lived in Victoria. So we moved over there where my younger brother was born, and eventually we moved to Adelaide where my younger sister was born, and Adelaide is where I was diagnosed with HIV in 2010. Yeah, I was partying pretty hard and I was being quite reckless. So, I slept with the wrong person, didn't use protection, and that person, just come to me one day and said that I needed to go and get a test because they'd had a test. And I went to a clinic in Adelaide, and it was like a dodgy little clinic. I had to go up these secret set of stairs, and I got the HIV test, and then I had to go back a week later. So that week I didn't even think about it. I didn't know anything about HIV. I'd never heard of it. When I went back in a week later, my mum, who I'm not close to, she actually got on the train and met me in the city. And I walked back into the clinic, and there was 12 people exactly waiting in that room. And I walked in, and 5 minutes later, I got called in before all of those people. So I kind of just, my gut knew that something was wrong. And look, like I said, I didn't know anything about it. So when the doctor told me that I was HIV positive, I straight away thought AIDS and it's a death sentence. And that just made me dig my heels in more with the drugs. I went to work. They were the only ones I could fight in, because they were kind of like family, I guess, at the time. And the minute I knew it had got out of a meeting with management and went around my work, I just did not go back into the office, and I partied really, really hard. But at the same time, I completely lost who I was. I couldn't be honest about being positive in Adelaide. I just had too much of a reckless past to be able to clean it up, if that makes sense. I ran over here with a backpack and met Michael, and I've never been back since. He was the first person I was open with about my status, and he actually got teary at the time, and that really changed everything for me, because I was accepted by someone, and that someone cared more than my family even did. So I'm really lucky that I met Michael. And he remains negative to this day, which I'm proud of that. I ended up getting into treatment at Fremantle Hospital, and my partner was with me throughout all of that. I managed to reach an undetectable viral load, and I think I was just lucky because I wasn't very compliant with the medication. Apart from that, it's very manageable for me, and my nurse and my healthcare team are they're like family kind of thing. I can talk to them about anything. So I think it was 2021, I got some paperwork and found out that I was really traumatized at a really young age, and that sent me off the rails again. Like, my drinking got worse, and I was having seizures, and eventually it was just too much, and I put myself into rehab, and I haven't had a seizure since. So basically, after the rehab, I've jumped back on the bandwagon with WAAC. I'm part of the Positive Speakers Bureau, so I do go out there and share my story, purely to help other people if they're not comfortable with it, or if they're afraid of how they're going to be treated. It's no different than anxiety for me, and I've always been okay with public speaking, and I've always talked a lot in school and whatnot. So I'm actually grateful that I have it, because it gives me something. It gives me a purpose, to do something with it. And I'd recommend people try and see it that way, because it can make a life for you in a way. I also engage with a counsellor just to keep myself on track. And I am very, very open about my status, because if I'm not out ahead of it, then I'm worried about the fear and it hangs over me. So I'd prefer to just share my story and show people that it doesn't have to control you. It doesn't have to make you fearful. I'm a different person here than I was in Adelaide. Here I'm an advocate with HIV and it's part of my identity in my eyes. But in Adelaide, that person doesn't exist. I was trying to make myself sick almost, like I just wanted to I wanted to hurry it up and just, if you're gonna kill me, kill me. But that never was the case. I mean, when I moved over here and got into treatment and first did a public thing with my HIV status back in 2017, I realized that it's a powerful thing to get out there, and there's no way in hell I would think it's a death sentence now. It's as common as anxiety or depression these days or any other chronic illness, and provided you get the support from the right people and go and see a doctor and have a proper chat with them, you realize that it's very, very manageable. The mental state is the hardest part, I think, for people, but health-wise, like you live a normal life. Like it's almost like you don't have it if you're on the right treatment. My mental health is probably the most important thing that I have to keep in check. HIV is like the least of my problems health-wise. It feels dormant to me, like it doesn't affect my life at all. It gives me something to do with it like this. So yeah, I just use it. I mean, it's sad. I know other countries, a lot of people still pass away from it, but it's nowhere near what it used to be. I feel lucky that I was diagnosed here because it could be very different in another country. But I think the global effort has to continue because it's not going to go away. To shake that fear, it's hard to undo that, but I think it's important that for people like me to share my story and keep pushing the message because that's how everyone's going to understand. So